So before you know the objectives of the session, again we are going to see under the same heading, location, connections, roots, branches, distribution, applied anatomy. So before going into the ganglion, okay, so we'll see a brief about the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, so the pterygopalatine fossa is located between the maxilla and the sphenoid bone. Okay, you can see the anterior wall is formed by maxilla, posteriorly formed by the sphenoid bone. Below that is floor is formed by the palatine bone. The roof is formed by the sphenoid bone. So through pterygomaxillary fissure, this pterygopalatine fossa communicates with infratemporal fossa. Okay, and if you see the medial wall here, it is removed here. The zygomatic bone and mandible is removed here. You can see the medial wall of the pterygopalatine fossa is formed by the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone. Sorry. And if you see the openings in the pterygopalatine fossa, you can see numerous openings here. Okay, so the blue color one is the medial wall. So the medial wall has one opening that is called sphenopalatine foramen. Through this, it communicates with the nasal cavity. And the posterior wall, that is in the sphenoid bone, you have three foramens: foramen rotundum, pterygoid canal, and palatino-vaginal canal. Through foramen rotundum, it communicates with middle cranial fossa. Okay, through pterygoid canal and palato-vaginal canal, it communicates with the oral cavity and even the pharynx, nasopharynx. Okay, and this is the inferior view of the hard palate. Okay, this foramen here. This foramen here is the greater palatine foramen. Okay, through this it communicates with the palate also. Okay, and you can see the communications. It communicates with middle cranial fossa, infratemporal fossa, floor of the orbit, lateral wall of nasal cavity, oropharynx, and roof of the oral cavity. Okay, and now we'll go on to the pterygopalatine ganglion. It is also otherwise called sphenopalatine ganglion. Okay, so it is the largest parasympathetic ganglion, peripheral ganglion, located in the pterygopalatine fossa, that is deeper part of the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, if you see where it is structurally connected with the maxillary nerve, but functionally it is connected to facial nerve through greater petrosal nerve, and it acts as a relay station for the secremotor fibers to the lacrimal gland and mucous glands of nose, palate, pharynx, and paranasal or sinuses. Okay, and you can see the location of the pterygopalatine ganglion in the pterygopalatine fossa. The green color here, the pterygopalatine ganglion. It is suspended from the maxillary nerve by two roots here. Okay, you can see two roots are suspending from maxillary nerve. It's located in the deeper part of the pterygopalatine fossa. In the other picture, you can see the location of the pterygopalatine ganglion is suspended from the maxillary nerve by two roots. You can see through foramen rotundum maxillary nerve enter here. Okay, and if you see the connections, as I already said, topographically it is connected with the maxillary nerve, and functionally it is connected with the facial nerve. Okay, through greater petrosal nerve, it is connected with the facial nerve. Okay, so next we'll see about the roots of the pterygopalatine ganglion. The first we'll see about the motor root. Okay, so the motor root arises from the pons. Okay, so this is the section of the pons at the level of facial collicles. You can see the superior salivatory nucleus and lacrimatory nucleus here. Okay, this is the superior salivatory nucleus and lacrimatory nucleus. The red color one is the motor nucleus of facial. So now the preganglionic fibers arises from the both superior salivatory nucleus and lacrimatory nucleus. Okay, so it passes through nervus intermedius, facial nerve, then geniculate ganglion of the facial nerve. So from there one branch arises, greater petrosal nerve. So through greater petrosal nerve, it reaches through nerve of pterygoid canal. Okay. through nerve of pterygoid canal, it reaches the pterygopalatine ganglion here. Okay, and actually the postganglionic fibers arising from the pterygopalatine ganglion, again it passes through maxillary nerve, zygomatic nerve, and through lacrimal nerve, it goes and supplies the lacrimal gland. Okay, so that's all about the motor route. This is in the flow chart. Once again, I'm explaining. Preganglionic fibers arise both from superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus. Okay, then it goes to the nervous intermediates, then facial nerve. From there, geniculate ganglion. The next will be your greater petrosal nerve, arises from geniculate ganglion, which is a branch of facial nerve. Okay, then the greater petrosal nerve joins with deep petrosal nerve to form the nerve of pterygoid canal. In the pterygoid canal, it is also otherwise called Vidian's nerve. Then it relay in the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, so from the pterygopalatine ganglion, the postganglionic fibers arise, which passes through maxillary and greater palatine nerve. So it passes through two nodes, maxillary and greater palatine nerve. So from there, through secretomotor fibers, it supplies lacrimal gland and mucous glands of nose, paranasal sinus, palate, and nasopharynx. Okay, so that's all about the parasympathetic route. Okay. So next we'll see about the sympathetic route. Okay. So first understand this picture. This is geniculate ganglion of the facial nerve. So this is the parasympathetic route. This is the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay. And here for lacrimal nerve, it goes and supplies the lacrimal gland. Now the sympathetic route, again the postganglionic fibers arises from sympathetic plexus around internal carotid artery. So from that it gives rise to deep petrosal nerve. So the deep petrosal nerve joins with the greater petrosal nerve to form the nerve of pterygoid canal. So which passes through the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, and supplies vasomotor supply to the mucous membrane of nose, palate, pharynx, and paranasal air sinuses. Okay, so I think you are clear with the sympathetic route. Okay, so next we'll see about the sensory route. You know this is the ganglion suspended by two roots. So this sensory route is mainly derived from maxillary nerve. It passes through ganglion without interruption, and through this it is distributed to the branches of the ganglion. It carries mainly sensation from the lacrimal gland, nose, palate, pharynx, okay, to the nucleus. Okay, I think you are clear about the parasympathetic, sympathetic and sensory route. So next we'll see this in this picture. This is the lateral view of the nasal cavity. Okay, you can see the olfactory nerve rootlets here. This is the anterior ethmoidal nerve. And you can see the pterygopalatine ganglion and maxillary nerve here, the posterior part of the lateral wall. You can see the opening of the auditory tube here. This is the nasopharynx. Okay. So this, if you strip the skin of the posterior wall of the posterior part of the lateral wall of nose, you can see the pterygopalatine ganglion and its branches. Okay, it's very difficult to see. And you can see the nerve of pterygoid canal. It's relaying in the ganglion. So from that the sensory route is passing through maxillary nerve, and even you can see the joining of the greater petrosal nerve with the deep petrosal nerve here. Okay. So now we'll go to the branches and its distribution. So mainly there are 4 branches, one more additional branch, that is 5th branch also there. Okay, the 4 branches here are the orbital branch, nasal branch, pharyngeal branch, palatine branch. Then one more branch through maxillary nerve, it gives a branch lacrimal gland, that is lacrimal branch. So totally 5 branches: orbital, nasal, pharyngeal, palatine, and lacrimal branch. Okay, so you can see the branches here. See, this is the orbital branch. Okay, and you can see the nasal branches, the 2 nasal branches here, and you can see the pharyngeal branch here and the palatine branch here. Okay, so first we'll see the lacrimal branch. So the lacrimal branch through the roots of maxillary nerve, so it enters the zygomatic nerve. So through zygomatic nerve, it passes to the lacrimal nerve. From there it goes and supplies the lacrimal gland. It gives secretomotor fibers and supply and also the sensory supply and even the vasomotor supply to the lacrimal gland. Okay. So next branch is the orbital branch. You can see the pterygopalatine here. So this orbital branch, it enters the orbit here through inferior orbital fissure. So here it supplies the orbital periosteum and one muscle in the floor of the orbit, orbitalis muscle, and mucous membrane of the sphenoidal and ethmoidal are sinuses. Okay. So next we will see about the palatine branches. Okay, there are two palatine branches. Okay, one is the greater or anterior palatine branch, lesser or posterior palatine branch. This is a schematic diagram you can use for drawing. Okay, this branch is the palatine branch. So it divides into greater palatine and lesser palatine nerve. Okay, so now see the distribution of the greater or anterior palatine nerve. So this greater or anterior palatine now, it passes through the greater palatine foramen, which is near the apex of the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, runs along the lateral wall of the hard palate here. Then it through a foramen in the anterior part of the hard palate, there is incisive foramen. So through that it enters the nose, lateral wall of the nose. Okay. So here it supplies the hard palate and the surrounding gums and branch which is passing through the incisive foramen entering the nose. It supplies the infrolateral wall of the nose. Okay. So this is the distribution of the greater or anterior palatine now. Okay. Next, if you see the lesser palatine, or it is otherwise called middle and posterior palatine now. So it also descends through greater palatine canal, comes out through the lesser palatine foramen. So supplies the mucous membrane of the soft palate here, then uvula, tonsil which is located here. Okay. So the greater palatine now supplies hard palate, mucous membrane of hard palate and surrounding gums through a branch to the nasal cavity. It supplies the inferior part of the lateral wall of nose. Lesser palatine now supplies the mucous membrane of the soft palate, uvula and the tonsil. Okay. So next we'll see about the nasal branch. So the nasal branch in this picture, you can see the nasal branch here. So it enters the nasal cavity through sphenopalatine foramen. Okay, here it divides into two branches. So one branch is the posterior branch, other branch is the nasopalatine nerve. Okay. So the posterior branch again divides into posterior superior lateral nerve and posterior superior medial nerve. Okay. So this lateral posterior superior nerve is 6 in number. This medial superior posterior nerve is 2 in number. Okay. Then another one nasopalatine nerve, which is the longest nerve. It is also otherwise called sphenopalatine nerve. Okay. Now you can see the nasopalatine nerve or long sphenopalatine nerve. So it through sphenopalatine foramen, it enters the nasal cavity. Okay. It supplies the nasal septum. Okay, it supplies the nasal septum and the gums of the incisor here. So now sometimes in the incisive canal you have two foramen, anterior and posterior foramen. So the left nasopalatine now enter through the anterior foramen. The right nasopalatine now will enter through the posterior foramen. Through this it enter the palate. Okay, and it supplies the gums of the incisor here. Okay, so this is a distribution of the nasopalatine or long sphenopalatine nerve. Next, we'll see about the posterior nerve. I said two nerves, posterior superior lateral nasal and posterior superior medial nasal. So the posterior superior lateral nasal is otherwise called short sphenopalatine. It supplies the lateral wall of the nose, mainly the superior, middle, and inferior nasal concha. Okay, and the posterior superior medial branch, it supplies the nasal septum. Okay, it supplies the nasal septum. So that's all about the orbital branch. Okay, so this is again a schematic diagram. You can use it for drawing the pterygopalatine ganglion and its branches. This shows only the branches. So if the ganglion is asked, you have to draw with the connections and roots. So next we'll go on to the pharyngeal branch. So the pharyngeal branch, through a opening in the posterior wall, that is through palato-vaginal canal, it enters the pharynx. Okay, and it supplies the nasopharynx above the auditory tube and behind the auditory tube. So the area above and behind the auditory tube is supplied by the pharyngeal branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay. So the next the branches and distributions are over. So far we have seen 5 branches: orbital branch, lacrimal branch, then nasal branch, then pharyngeal branch. Okay. So with this we'll go on to the applied anatomy. So you've already seen in the maxillary now, if there is trigeminal neuralgia which affects maxillary division, then symptoms will be seen in the area of distribution, even the area of distribution of the pterygopalatine ganglion, because there will be a communication between the maxillary nerve and the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, to relieve the pain, you should anesthetize this nerve at the foramen rotundum. And if there is any irritation of the pterygopalatine ganglion, which or infection, it causes a condition called hay fever or sphenopalatine ganglion fever, so which causes congestion of glands of palate and nose, including lacrimal gland, so which produces running nose and lacrimation. Even it will be associated with the fever. Okay, so it is also otherwise called hay fever ganglion. So the next important applied aspect is the sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia. It is also otherwise called brain freeze. So have you ever taken a cold ice cream and after immediately taking the ice cream, ever you felt that sudden severe headache, but immediately it will be relieved? So that is mainly because of the irritation of the sphenopalatine ganglion, that is nerves of the sphenopalatine ganglion. Okay, so if you eat very cold ice cream, what happened? The cold substance will trigger the nerves of the sphenopalatine ganglion. Okay, so actually, what happened? The brain will go for freezing. Okay, so yes, to return to warmth, what happened? The blood vessels will start swelling. Okay, this causes severe intensive pain in the head, which lasts for 30 seconds. So this condition is called brain freeze or ice cream headache. Okay, so the pain may be avoided. How will you avoid? So you have to eat your ice cream slowly. You should not eat in a hurry. Okay, so with this I'll finish the class. Do you have any doubt on this topic?